As predicted, Bitcoin dumps mid-March. I'm going to be talking more about that, but that's what I predicted in my last video. I'll show it to you right here in a moment. But good morning and good evening, crypto astronauts, depending on where you're tuning in from in this beautiful world. And welcome back to the crypto paradise. We're doing pretty well still. We did get this pretty big dump here, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. But this is not financial advice. None of this content is financial or investment advice. This is intended for entertainment and educational purposes. All right, so let's zoom in here what we're seeing. But first off, what I did was I took a line from the previous peak in 2021 in November, the all-time high, the recent all-time high, and then the one back in April of 2021 as well. And that's where we're at right now. We are kind of bouncing in between these two lines here. As you can see, looks like we may have dipped a little bit below it today. So let's take a look at the length of a dump that we got here. We went all the way down to here, 12% dump. All right, so remember 12%. So what's interesting is that initially the previous week, last week, we were not able to close exactly above the previous all-time high. It got very close. It got pretty much right on it. But now, and then we poked above it, and we got all the way up here to 73,700. Pretty good. But then we just fell all the way down, and we're about to close the week. So the kind of negative thing here, the thing that I am a little bit cautious about here for sure, is that we are closing and potentially going to create a red bar here. Ideally, if we want to keep moving up, if we want to keep stepping up with bullish action like this, we need to see a weekly close that is above this line. So we need to close above 69,000 around there, ideally. Otherwise, we could be heading down for a bit. If we close below the 69,000, that's a bit bearish, and there's a possibility we could be doing this before we head back up. And in the worst case, we could just be heading down. That's the worst case scenario. I'm not saying that's what I'm thinking is going to happen, but I'm going to be taking a close look at this in the next days and weeks here, as this is pretty much a critical point here in the markets, especially with Bitcoin and crypto. Now, if we look at the previous time that we had some similar price action, we look at the peak back in 2017 in December, and we look at the price action over here, and this was in 2020 when we hit up against that previous all-time high. We really just bounced off of it before we headed back down. It was only a week that we were dumping there. That was the good news. And we went down 11%, around the same percentage that we've gone right now. So that's very interesting. But this was different. This was different than it is now, because in this case, it bounced off of the previous all-time high. In our case, we went above it, and then the next week we went above it again. But then we might be closing below it in this time. So let's continue back. What we can do is we can go back to 2014, I believe. Look at what happened back in history. And ignore these vertical lines. These are actually the previous total, or maybe don't ignore them. These are the previous total eclipses. And so they mark pretty interesting points in the Bitcoin chart, which is very interesting. Okay, so here's the previous peak back in 2013. What we're seeing over here is similar to well, actually this is different as well, because it went above the all-time high, but it actually closed above it. We did not do that yet. We did not close above it. We did not close the week above it. It continued the next week before it head down, and then the next week it did close underneath the previous all-time high, which we might be seeing tomorrow in the next 12 hours or so. And then let's see what happened. How long did we stay below this all-time high? How long did it take to surpass it? So, once we closed below it, we went all the way through here before we headed back up above that all-time high. That's 6 weeks. But given that our week is about to be over tomorrow, it's potentially 5 more weeks if we behave similarly. And then here's the good news / bad news. It's good news in terms of it's a good buying opportunity. Bad news if you're hodling, it could dump 33%. That's quite a bit. Now, these are totally different markets back then. There was no institutional buyers. It was a totally different ball game back then. So we might not be able to compare exactly apples and oranges to what we're behaving right now. But, if things did repeat exactly like 2016, that would bring us down to 49,000. I'm definitely not saying that's going to happen, but just food for thought. Food for thought. Now, the video title is As Predicted. So I wanted to show you one of my previous videos here. So many of you may have seen this video. It's about the lunar eclipse that is coming up on March 25th. And I did predict, might as well like my video. I predicted these predictions. And you can take a look at this video, but I can also play it for you right now. Time for what you've all been waiting for, the Bitcoin predictions for this lunar eclipse. So Bitcoin could experience a correction, I'm not counting that out, in mid-March to the end of March, around these eclipses. We do have the Saturn sextile the Bitcoin Sun and the Saturn sextile the Ethereum Pluto, which is positive though, so that suggests that any dump that happens will likely be bought up very quickly. Now the Fed is going to make a major... Now, one quick thought is that that is actually the Bitcoin Sun and the Saturn sextile and the Ethereum Pluto is happening at the end of March, at the end of the month. So things, is what I'm saying, could be bought up towards the end of March, but we could have, it's possible, I have to say this, we could have a bit lower to go here with the Bitcoin price action. Major decision on March 20th. It looks like the statistics are saying that they're most likely going to pause, and that's going to be very bullish for markets. But if things do change very quickly, if something crazy happens and they wind up cutting the rates, then prepare for a major market shift. However, I'm definitely going to buy any dips that we're seeing here. Like and share this video if you got value from... Okay, so I'm definitely buying the major dips. I did buy a little bit more, but... like I'm saying, we could be heading down lower. We will see. I'm going to keep my eye very close on what we get for the daily close tomorrow. We are getting a green right now, so that's very interesting. It's going to be very interesting what happens in the next 14 hours or so, because I'm wondering if there's going to be more selling action here, or if we're just going to continue marching back upwards. The best case scenario is if we march upwards and we head all the way back up above this line around 69,000. That would be the best case scenario, and then we could continue potentially marching up after that. My little tool isn't working here. Oopsies. Yeah, so ideally that would be the best case scenario, is we just continue marching back upwards. So I will keep my eye closely on this. As you can see with the daily swings, we've created a lower swing here that's lower than this swing top, which was around, or swing bottom, which was around 67,178. So we'll see what happens. This is the hourly chart. We are getting this bounce up, but we will see if we can hold that. Can we hold this level at 64,852? That is the question. For those who are interested, if you're interested in the Crypto Astro Retreat, I've mentioned it in my previous 2 videos. It's happening on September 7th through 14th, 2024. This is going to be to maximize your profits in Bali, the place I live. It's incredible here. I've lived here for 4 years. This is for Crypto Strategy and Mindset Mastery 2024. It's going to be incredible. Check out my previous video if you want to learn more about this. And you can also click the links in my videos below. Check out these video testimonials from previous people who have worked with me, and just read through this page. All right, well, thank you so much. I'll keep my eye on this Bitcoin chart, as I'm sure you probably will as well. And thank you so much for watching. Definitely like this video and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And I'll see you on the next video.